The boats packed with desperate Syrian and Palestinian refugees have been leaving the coast of northern Lebanon for years. But with Lebanon in a bit of a free fall, its citizens are also joining the other migrants in growing numbers. Lebanon's economic crisis has crushed the Lebanese pound. Children are starving and their parents are left with no choice. They've been forced to flee from the country in hope of greener pastures. Now, Mohammed Ghandour is one of them. He was sent back from Cyprus and is now back in Tripoli in Lebanon, which is said to be one of the poorest cities in the whole of Lebanon.
بابا فيني لانه عايش ولادي بابا نقدر يعني يا بدي يصير اسرق ما بدي اسرق انا ولا بدي ابني يكبر يسرق يعني نحن بدنا نهرب من هون بس كرمال نبعد عن الحرام وعن نضال القصص لانه هون بهالبلد اللي بضلوا عايش بالحرام من الاخر يعني اللي مثلي عنده 7 اولاد ما بيقدر يعيش الا بالحرام يطعميهم من الاخر عم بحكيها انا.
After more than a day that was lost at sea, Ghandour's boat carrying his family and relatives arrived near the seaside resort of Larnaca. His family was detained in a camp for several days. They were tested for COVID-19 and then were stopped from claiming asylum before being sent back into Lebanon. Ghandour is one of the dozens of Lebanese who in fact attempted the journey since late August. The United Nations Refugee Agency has tracked 21 boats leaving Lebanon between July and September. 14 in 2019 and 17 boats in total have left Lebanon so far this year. Now, the increase in the number of people who are seeking asylum has worried the Cypriot authorities, especially given the global pandemic. The island is the closest European Union member state to West Asia. Now, Cyprus has also seen a gradual rise in the arrivals of undocumented migrants and refugees in the last 2 years, since other routes have become much more difficult to cross. Now, the streets of Lesbos that just till a few days ago were teeming with the refugees whose migrant camp had been burnt down are deserted now. The 9,000-odd migrants have been relocated to a new tent camp on the island. The streets of Lesbos were open to traffic on Friday. The migrants had been sleeping on the roadsides, in parking lots and also in the forest area since the Moria camp mysteriously caught fire and it completely was gutted. Since the fire, thousands of migrants had been living out on the streets without adequate sanitation and other facilities, but now only traces of their presence can be seen from makeshift shelters, discarded mattresses and trash that still remains on the streets of Lesbos. Now, the police operation to hector the migrants into new camps has been by and large peaceful. Authorities predict that at this pace all migrants could be shifted to the new camp by the end of the weekend. Many migrants have been resisting the hope of leaving Lesbos. They essentially wanted to be allowed to go, but the authorities have said that any transfer from the island will take place through the camp. The members of the European Parliament visited the new tent camp on Friday, saying that such camps were not the solution to the problem.
A Greek problem, this is a European problem. And what happened in Moria is a shame for all of us. So we are here also not only to call the attention to the situation that these people are living, but also to say this cannot be a solution. We have to find a common solution. We have to find a solution which enables the relocation of people across European countries.
The more than 12,000 migrants were left homeless after a fire tore through the overcrowded Moria migrant camp. On the 9th of September, the homeless migrants had been sleeping on the roadsides in makeshift shelters, hoping to leave the island. A police operation began on Thursday, more than a week after the fire, to try and convince the reluctant migrants to leave the streets and enter into this new camp. But the refugees were extremely uncertain because the restrictions in the new camp were described as very intense. They could not step out of the camp, and many described this as some kind of an internment camp for them. The mysterious fire that gutted the Moria migrant camp has again thrown the spotlight on the migrant crisis in Europe.
This whole situation makes it so obvious that the future of European migration policies cannot be built on the camp system. We don't have to have it like this. This is not worthy Europe in 2020.